Hey guys, it's JD. Just a quick little thing before we start the show. Kyle and I are building a schedule for the show this year, and we could really use your help. On the screen and in the video description, there's a link to a Google Docs that would really appreciate if you filled out. Basically, we want to know what kind of movies, new or old, that you'd like to see us review, what topics we should tackle for the podcast, or, any kind of new show we should try out. It really shouldn't take any more than a minute to fill out, but it would really help us out a lot. Our show really runs on feedback, and so knowing what you guys want us to do, really helps us, do more stuff. I don't know. It would just be a really big help. But that said, I won't hold you up. So enjoy the show. Hello everyone, welcome to another Ink and Paint Club movie review on the Ink and Paint Club channel thing. I am JD, that's Kyle.
And
Kyle, what? Yes, he is.
And what?
The beautiful ginger himself.
And what?
And what are we talking about today, Kyle?
We're talking about this movie that I promised JD that I was gonna watch, but then I never did. It's called Nerdland.
You watched it like yesterday.
No, I didn't. I watched it like a fucking week ago.
Uh-oh.
Whenever you were like, hey man, it's out, I was like, oh shit, I'ma watch this shit. And I did.
Oh, I thought you waited a couple days. I don't know. Yeah, so,
JD, I don't have a job. I can watch shit whenever I want.
Well, I guess there's an upside to everything. Okay, so I'll recap this story real quick because I said it in our yearly review show a couple weeks ago. Basically, this movie Nerdland came out in a one-night-only showing in the theaters last month in December, and I went and saw it, and I was the only one in the theater.
And I forced JD to watch it because I was gonna watch it.
No, I don't. I wanted to see it myself anyway, but you said you were gonna go see it, but you said the nearest one was miles away and you didn't have the time for it, which I get. It's cool. You're a busy man. I just thought it was funny that I was literally the only one to show up to the screening, and they even spelled the name of the movie wrong on the marquee.
That's your college education right there.
I don't know if half people at that theater were college educated, but whatever. Anyway, so Nerdland is Titmouse Animation's first theatrical, I say theatrical in big quote fingers, movie. Titmouse has done a lot of stuff. They did Metalocalypse and Super Jail and Motor City on Disney XD. Which we should talk about Motor City one of these days because I like that show. That and Tron.
I tried to get into it. I don't know.
I didn't Motor City was weird because the plot was okay, but I liked it more for the animation style, which is kind of why I like this movie too. But anyway, Nerdland came out last year. It premiered at a film festival back early in the year, and then they did their one-night screening in December, and now it's out on digital release if you want to go watch it. But basically, the conceit of this movie is these two guys, played by Paul Rudd and Patton Oswalt, and they're these 30-year-olds in LA trying to, make it in the film industry, and they just want to be famous. So it's about their misadventures trying to get famous.
I would say that I like this movie way better than Sausage Party.
No, I would definitely agree with that. Sausage Party was it's like what you would expect someone to make a wide release.
It worked
adult
better.
Animated.
It worked better as a fucking trailer. than a
did.
movie.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's get into how we felt about Nerdland. I think when I got out of this movie, I think the first thing I told you, Kyle, was that I like this movie because it has like that late 90s, early 2000 MTV grunge look.
It feels like Mission Hill. And it just has that kind of art style where it reminds me of comic books in a sense. I do like that I like that indie art style. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's definitely got that kind of like the character design is really wonky. The background style is like really saturated and stuff. And it's just really weird.
And it's a great voice cast too. Not a lot of well-known people. There are well-known people, but not like
honestly, like
A-listers.
Paul Rudd and Patton Oswalt are probably the most well-known.
Yeah. Well, Hannibal's pretty well-known.
Yeah.
Really know.
No, yeah. You've got the two mains is Paul Rudd and Patton Oswalt. You got Hannibal Buress as the Nerd King or whatever his name was. I kind of forget.
That's what it was, the Nerd King.
Right. Then you've got the band Garfunkel and Oates. Those two ladies as the ladies that the two guys. Fuck, what are their names? God, John and Elliot. Here we go. Are trying to get after. Mike Judge plays a hobo. Brendan Small, I think, is in here somewhere. Sarah Silverman's sister is one of the background characters. I'm just looking at the voice list here. So it's a lot of like, not huge names, but like if you're in the kind of like nerd culture or whatever, or just like kind of not, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Kind of comedy scene.
Yeah,
really.
it is. It's a lot of comedians, which I think really works for this. I think if you got like a really big name actor, even if you could for this kind of a movie, I don't think it would have worked.
I like Patton Oswalt a lot. I think that was one of the reasons I liked Ratatouille a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not too familiar with Paul Rudd stuff. I know he's done a lot, but I haven't.
Paul Rudd. Literally, the only two things I know Paul Rudd from is Clueless and Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
And there's like a good 20-year difference between those, and I don't think Paul Rudd is aged.
Oh, that's true.
He looks exactly the same as he did in the 90s.
I never watched either of those.
I like Clueless. I like stupid teen movies. And Ant-Man was pretty cool. So I guess this movie. Sorry, I meant to bring this up earlier. When I went and saw the movie, they had like this whole thing before the movie, which was like I think it was the Q&A from the film festival. And it went on for a good 10 minutes or whatever.
Damn.
But they were talking to the screenwriter, who I guess his name's like Andrew Walker or something. But I guess he's been trying to get this made for like 15 years.
Christ.
Like this started out as like a live action movie. And then he tried to make it a TV show, and then he wanted to make it shorts. And then he just like pitched it to Titmouse, and Chris Pronosky was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. And Chris is like, I want to direct it. So that's how this movie got made, basically. Which, that's actually kind of funny. It just shows like how if you believe in something, don't give up on your dreams, kids.
Yeah. I'd live by that every day.
You can make it with much persistence, which I guess is kind of a theme for this movie. Because you've got like one I forget which one's which, but one of the guys is like trying to be a screenwriter, the other one's trying to be an actor.
Elliot's trying to be the screenwriter.
Right. Yeah. Patton Oswalt's trying to be the screenwriter.
I don't know. It was relatable in a sense, where he's writing shit and he's like, "Well, I'm done for the day." That's how it
he
feels
writes
like.
like he writes like a paragraph and he's like done for the day.
Yeah, that's how
And
it
then
feels.
immediately has sex with a sex doll.
Yeah, I mean,
That
who
was-
doesn't though?
That was disturbing.
It was
Um,
weird though that old lady came in.
I felt so bad for that old lady.
But who just walks in? He said he was indisposed. She
I know,
heard
right?
it.
Right. But no, if there's anything I didn't like about this movie is that and you even told me this, Kyle, that like the plot kind of meanders a lot.
Well, the thing about this movie that I didn't like, it really feels like a lot of wacky antics before the plot starts getting to where it needs to go, and it kind of reminds me of how modern Simpsons work. Like, they won't get to the main plot until like the third act, and it's like, what the fuck? And then it lasts for maybe like 7 minutes.
Yeah, now that you say that, I kind of get that, cuz like you spend like the first half of the movie is like, or, I mean, it's like it's almost like in thirds. It's like there's the first part of the movie where they're like really kind of like despondent about their own lives, like they're 30 years old, they've accomplished nothing in their lives, and they need to do something.
Well,
So they decide.
it was mostly John, Paul Rudd's character, was more like shitting his pants that he was being 30. Elliot,
Right.
Patton Oswalt's character didn't seem to care at all about anything.
Yeah. So you've got that, and then they decide like, oh, we're gonna get famous by any means necessary, and then there's that whole like good half hour of them just doing shit to get famous, where they like try to film themselves giving money to a homeless person, or try to save someone from a burning building, or then they decide after they I guess run out of ideas, they decide they're gonna go on a murder spree.
Yeah, but it seems
Which I
like
thought was a huge jump.
It seems like each one of those though took like 15 minutes. Because there was like the whole saving someone from a burning building that took like a good 7 minutes, and then like
and then
takes
there's
a
the
while. Oh, getting beat by a cop.
Yeah, they got beat up by a cop by dressing up as hippies.
I fucking love that whole sequence because when I saw it first, I thought the cop that was distracting him from his friend getting beat up, I thought he was doing it on purpose, but he wasn't doing it on purpose. He was actually legitimately interested in his camera, and I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, that was the best.
But they just beat him up and they don't arrest him, which I found weird because it seems like that's what would happen. You jump on a cop's car, you flip him off, you're gonna get beat, you're gonna get arrested
for disorderly conduct.
Yeah.
And the thing, I guess maybe this was part because of the pre-show that they had going on, because before the movie, they had like images up on the screen, like, you know, here's the character and here's like a brief explanation for them, or they'd be like doing stupid movie trivia stuff. But I felt like they were really building up the internet, basically the stand-in for Bill Gates, the big computer mogul guy. And there's like a whole sequence in the movie where they decide they're gonna get famous by being hackers, because Paul Rudd has like a rudimentary knowledge of hacking.
Well, when they did that, because when they introduced the characters definitely have like ego problems, and they think more of themselves than they actually are. Because he's oh yeah, I'm gonna meet this celebrity today, and I have a meeting with him, and it turned out to be like a meet and greet with the guy.
Well, he writes for a what was it, like a movie theater concessions food magazine.
Yeah. And then
so he's like trying to talk to this movie star, and he's literally just asking him like what kind of butter he likes on his popcorn.
Yeah.
He's like, this has nothing to do with the movie.
And then the other guy thinks he's like this really great writer, but I don't think he had anything done, did he?
No, he is like, and even the idea that he does get out is like so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's just it's like Rip Van Winkle comes back. It just starts murdering society because I don't know.
Goes
he finds
crazy.
Ripper Heads.
Everybody's sinning.
I know. It's just fucking weird.
But all
Um,
these they have like this really kind of ego thing.
mhm.
So they think they're better than themselves. I forget where I was going with that, but that was kind of their thing. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. When he does the hacking stuff, I'm like, does he think he knows how to hack? Is he really gonna do it? And then he does
Yeah.
it, and it's like, oh shit! Like, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's like that whole bit where they do the hacking thing. It happens, their computer gets destroyed because the computer guy sends like a counter hack or whatever. And then that's never brought up again.
Yeah,
And that's just how things and then like the how they get to the last bit, like the main what's supposed to be the main plot of the movie is so random because like after the whole police bit um they go to a convenience store and knock into a guy on accident, and then it like later on in the movie they're like, oh hey, this guy got arrested and they're like technically considered witnesses to a crime, so they have to go into witness protection program.
and I
It's
think
like
it's really genius because it's like they're trying to get famous, but now they got to be anonymous and go into hiding. That's exactly
right.
the opposite of what they want. Like, I think that's genius, but getting from point A to point B, there was like point Q, point S,
Exactly.
all
Because
these
like
all these things just to get there.
yeah, because like in between the bumping into the guy at the convenience store and like knowing that he's a murderer and they're like witnesses to his crime technically, there's like the whole bit where they're gonna go on a murder spree.
Yeah.
Like just dividing those two things up, so it's like it gets back to the what's supposed to be the main plot like a half hour later. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it? um but it's just so fucking weird. um so yeah, like I like the plot was kind of all over the place, but I still liked watching these two idiots just go from one thing to another trying to like get media attention.
Yeah, I mean, the whole movie was absolutely enjoyable, but it really did take a while to get to the plot.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. um. Sorry, you dropped out there for a sec, but it's all good.
We'll edit it out.
I do want to say that like, even though it's like not high end animation, I do like the animation style for this, and not just the character designs. I like how Titmouse can do a lot of interesting movement and interesting camera work with such like almost limited looking simple animation.
That's true.
I don't know, like especially in Motor City, like I feel like they took really kind of, I'm not going to call it simplistic character design, but like it almost looked like they were doing it in Flash, but it was like really good Flash.
Yeah.
To this, and like I don't think they run in Flash. I think they do it the way everyone else does, but it's like it just kind of looks like it's on the low end, but they do a lot. They do everything they can with what they have, which I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, there was the whole thing with the Hollywood sign. That was like another kind of plot point.
Oh, what was the Hollywood sign thing?
It was just
Oh,
like they were
that's
gonna show a new Hollywood sign.
okay. So
That was all it
That-
was.
oh, okay, that really took me back, because like the movie ends like very abruptly with the unveiling of this new Hollywood sign, and I honestly kind of forgot that was a thing because they only mentioned it like once at the beginning of the film, like over a radio. They're like, "Oh hey, this."
I thought they
or-
did it a couple times. 'Cause
They might have.
It felt like it was a really big setup, and then there wasn't like much of a payoff.
They might maybe. I only remember it the one because like as soon as they did it, like, oh yeah, that was the thing they were mentioning at the beginning of the movie. But yeah, it like comes kind of out of nowhere. where it's like, oh, everyone stops to look at this new Hollywood sign, and I guess it's so beautiful it ends the movie.
No, they were just like, oh, that sucks. It was something like that.
Yeah,
They didn't
maybe.
like it, but all the characters in the movie that they had witnessed and everything, they all stopped for a brief moment to see the Hollywood sign be unveiled. And that was kind of how it ended.
Right, and it ends, and then there's like a post credits or mid what I don't know. There's an extra scene after it where they're like in witness protection program.
Doing exactly what they said, selling apples or like washing apples at a diner.
Yeah,
It was something like
they're
that.
literally they're working at a greasy diner, wearing fake mustaches and everything. So
Yeah.
dumb.
And then it was kind of like a 180 because the girls that they really liked were the ones that got famous. They were on
Right,
the
'cause
TV show.
They got their own reality show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whoa.
I,
One problem I did have with it too was they had the two cadavers. They pushed it off because that was the thing too. They were right by the Hollywood sign and it was still covered.
oh yeah.
And then there was a big explosion. Like they had two cadavers. They were trying to fake their own death, and they pushed their car off a cliff with their clothes on the cadavers, and then they're like, "Shit, it's supposed to explode." And then it finally does explode, and it's right by the Hollywood sign. And at the end, the police kind of catch them, and it's on TV unveiling the sign, but they never like, oh, there's a charred car and there's corpses here. Like that's never brought up, and that kind of bothered me just a little bit.
Well, I feel like that's a lot of what this movie is. It's like it does a thing and then it immediately moves on to the next thing and doesn't look back.
That's kind of true.
Right. So you and I talked about this before, but I wanted to get it on the recording. When they decide that, like, when they're out of ideas and they decide they're gonna go on a murder spree to get famous, they go to the Nerd King character because he apparently has this like video that he's been editing for years that is like the best footage of like ultra violence and gore in movies and like from the news or whatever, all edited together in just one long video, and so they have to get it from him so they can get in the mood to become murderers.
Yeah.
And what were you were saying that what were you saying that you thought their reaction was gonna be?
So they're watching this movie, and they do it where it's almost like you're watching it. You're seeing what they're seeing. And it's a lot of fast-paced, like, violent images. And it really did feel like it was the Titmouse artists kind of, like, collabing, doing, like, a bunch of couple-second scenes of, like, a bunch of gore. Because it felt like the style kept switching with everything shown. But anyways, they're watching this movie, and they're just like, they're wide-eyed, their mouths open, and it seems like it's something that's gonna fuck them up, you know? But then they decide, okay, we're gonna go and try it on their neighbor. But I feel it would have been, I feel it would have been a little bit better if after they've seen like this intense gore and everything, because their reaction looked like, oh shit. If one of them leaned over to the other one and was like, I don't want to be a murderer now. Like, I feel like that would have been better. Because, I mean, like I told you before, there's a difference between movie gore, where it's kind of fun. Like, Tarantino movies, it's like...
We can tell it's fake.
Yeah, the blood's bright red and all this kind of stuff. As opposed to seeing, like, real shit, where you're seeing bones sticking through the skin and, like...
No,
like,
thank you.
Cars getting crushed and people inside it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That will really fuck you up. As desensitized as you can be, like, I go on 4chan all the time, but I can still, like, get really sick from seeing stuff like that. That's how I kind of felt that it was going to go, the direction they were going to take, and they they kind of went the opposite direction. They wanted to kill
Yeah.
their neighbors still.
Um, you mentioned people being desensitized. I honestly thought that's how that scene was gonna go. It was just gonna end in one big joke where they were like they watched the video all the way through and all like this horrible violence they just witnessed, and they just like sit back and like, huh, I don't feel anything. Like they're just so desensitized to violence that it like didn't do anything for them.
Well, I guess it could have worked in another way too, where they're like, "Yeah, I've seen worse," or something like that, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I did like that, because I liked Hannibal's character a lot. I really liked the Nerd King, because he seems so different from all the other characters. Then he was wearing an eye patch too.
For no reason, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I like that they gave him. It was their rare toy, Robo Wizard, and he was just like. He just goes on like this giant thing of saying how cool Robo Wizard is. They're showing like the old Saturday morning cartoon, and I like that whole sequence.
I just love every time they go to visit that guy. It's like so gross. But yeah, you're right. And that's another thing. Like, I think I mean I said it before, but I really want to commend like the character design in this movie because everyone just looks so vastly different from one another. Just like everyone looks really wonky, but like everyone's body shape is just completely different from one another, and like every character stands out.
Well, it's like the two main characters are pretty lanky, but one of them's more built than the other one.
Yeah, you've got like the big stocky built guy, and then there's the other one who's like a twig man.
And then like the Nerd King is just almost a circle with tiny legs.
And he got like this big sausage neck.
Yeah, and he's just so nasty looking, but it works. It fits in their world.
Yeah. Because, like, it's supposed to look grimy, because it's, like, supposed to be Hollywood, and everyone is, like, fake and artificial, so it's, like, everything is just, like, disgusting, and, like, the art style kind of reflects on that.
Yeah. And then there was, like, the criminal, too, and he had a bunch of scars, and his eye was all fucked up.
Yeah.
Character design was really good.
Yeah, I can see bits of... Like, looking back at the character designs, like, I can see bits and pieces of, like, Super Jail in there. Especially with the criminal guy. He looks like someone who would have been in Super Jail.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch that. That was a good show. But, no, yeah, just... Overall, I really like the art direction. Like I said, this reminds me of, like, that old MTV style. And, like, I love that old MTV animation, so like anything that kind of takes me back to that, like I really appreciate.
And it makes you kind of want more in a sense. Like I really do want to see Titmouse make their own movies and stuff.
Oh, I definitely agree. Like you were saying, like I think as a movie, this is much better than Sausage Party. It's not like there was no way in hell it was going to get like a wider release like Sausage Party did, but I think as a whole it's a better movie because it's not being gross for the sake of being gross. It's not being crude for the sake of crude, like Sausage Party was. All the dialogue feels like it feels natural to that world. It doesn't sound like a bunch of celebrities in a room just making dick jokes to each other. And they didn't mistreat
their artists like Sausage Party did too, so there's that as well.
Yeah. No, man, everything I hear about coming from Titmouse, I hear it's a good place to work.
I have 2 friends that work there, and they really like it. Just I wish that they would give me a job.
I don't know if they have that kind of power, but
I know it would be nice.
We'll get there one of these days, Kyle. Once we finish your pitch Bible.
Yeah.
We should pitch to Netflix. But no, I definitely want to see Titmouse make more movies because I like Titmouse. I like their animation style. I like the projects that they put out. So if this does well enough for them, I would like to see them do more films. And even if it's just straight to DVD stuff, I would like to see them doing more original content. Was that your dog?
Yeah, you heard him yawn.
That was so weird.
Aren't they supposed to be doing something with Megas? I thought they were supposed to be working on something with Megas as well. Maybe not.
Yeah. The Megas XLR being revived goes around every now and then. I still don't know if it ever will. If it does, great.
That is through them, right?
I thought Titmouse did Megas, or
I thought so too.
something like that. I'm not really sure the entirety of what Titmouse does, but what they have done, I like, because they do Venture Brothers right now, don't they?
Yes. And
I think
Venture Brothers is great.
Yeah, they took over a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we can suck Titmouse, how much more we can suck Titmouse's dick. But they're a great company. We love their stuff. So whatever you can do to support them, watch their shows, buy this movie.
Not like me, but buy this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's available digitally. I don't know if it's gonna get a DVD or Blu-ray release. If it does, I'd consider buying this movie on DVD if it came out, if only to support. Because that's the thing, and I think we said it when we reviewed Sausage Party. I feel like we need to support adult animation, because if we support it now, that will lead to better and better things in the future. Because I definitely feel like this movie is a step in the right direction, where it's aimed towards adults. It deals with adult stuff, but it's not adult in a like childish, crude way.
Yeah.
Which I think, and plot problems aside, I think this movie proves that taking a more quote serious plot for an adult animated film can work. So that's just how I feel.
What I do like about Titmouse though is to me it does feel like the indie comic scene, because you got studios like Warner Brothers and Disney, Pixar. These are like the big guys, the main well-known stuff, and these guys are kind of just doing their own thing, which is great. So you don't have the whole executives meddling and that kind of shit. You don't have that feeling from their movies, which is fantastic. And the problem with that, I guess, is that you see what France is putting out, and there's a lot of independent studios in France, and they're doing their own thing. And we don't really have that in America. Titmouse is kind of like the only...
like major...
That's what it seems like. They're kind of like the only independent studio in a sense.
Frederator is kind of to a lesser extent. And then there's a lot of other studios. Like I've been hearing a lot of people talk about. I think it's a studio called Studio Yoda or Yada or whatever. They've been doing a lot. They've been doing a lot of stuff. I guess they just animated a pilot. Or not a pilot, a pilot short for Nickelodeon. This one artist I follow did his short through them.
Is it the Roswell's
and the GIF he
thing?
Posted earlier today looked really nice. What?
Is it the Roswell's thing or no?
No. Do you know Gene Goldstein?
Oh, I saw you commented on Gene stuff. Is that that's that it's like a policeman kind of thing?
Yeah.
Looks like a moai.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he did his through Yoda or Yada or whatever, and at least from that one GIF he posted, it looks really good. But yeah, I agree that at least in a major sense, Titmouse seems to be like the one kind of independent studio that seems to be getting by. I think they did Ugly Americans too.
Oh shit! Okay.
I like that show. But yeah. I agree. It is kind of weird that in America, like, we don't have a really big independent animation scene. It's a lot of corporate animation where I
Yeah,
think a lot of other countries see animation as more of an art form rather than you
child
know
stuff.
a child stuff, a way to make money. They do it for the sake of art rather than the sake of money. Um, so that's why you see like Canada and France and all these other countries are just they've got like a million fucking independent studios just putting shit out because they can.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen? I think it's called The Last Man or something like that.
I have
Um,
no idea. We can watch it after
well,
we record.
they did like a Kickstarter thing, and it looked really great. It was
Your
French
dog is like
animation.
standing at attention.
Oh, he's looking very proud. Very
Sorry if
looking.
anyone listening to this, you can't see. Kyle's got his camera on. His dog is just like staring deep into the into the camera. Where he was. There you go. I don't know, but
So
yeah,
it's called The Last Man, and it's a comic book, and they're making an animation out of it, and it looks really good. It's
yeah,
independent studio. That's kind of what I mean. But stuff like this where we don't really have that out here.
yeah,
But like you said, Frederator, I still kind of feel that they're going through other places more than doing their own thing. They
mm-hmm.
have been doing being Puppy Cat and Bravest
Braves.
Warriors, but I feel like those are kind of on their last leg. They haven't been
Yeah,
producing like a lot of content. They've just been doing the tune up videos.
yeah. And if you haven't seen my episodes that I've done for Channel Predator, you should totally do that.
Nice little plug there.
No, don't
Have
watch
you
them. They're
no shame?
terrible. I have many shame. Don't watch them. They're terrible. But yeah. But
Well,
anyway,
all in
um,
all, I think both of us like this movie, so I think
yes.
both of us would recommend it.
I think Nerdland gets the Ink and Paint Club seal of approval.
Yeah.
That should be a thing we have.
Oh, it's the first movie that I haven't like ripped to shreds, I feel like.
Yeah, actually, I think that's true. Out of the almost 2 years we've been doing this show, I think this is the one you haven't like actively shit on.
Well, I thought I liked Inside Out and stuff.
No, I'm giving you shit, man.
Uh,
I'm sure there's plenty of movies reviewed where you liked it.
I hated Dory. Dory was
I
awful.
know. That was just a half hour of you angrily yelling at yourself.
I should do more solo ones. Just
Oh god.
fucking angry.
Great. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen Nerdland, please go do that. Support Titmouse. Get the movie through the official sources. Don't be a Kyle.
Yeah. Not I'm not the greatest, but I don't have a job, so don't blame me, yo.
Kyle's not a role model. But yeah, so go do that. Um, so yeah, that was our review of Nerdland. If you liked it, I hope you did. Um, I don't know. Again, I don't know what I'm doing, what we're doing next week because I don't bother to check the schedule. But I feel like it's just something I say at the end of everything now.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I've got it written down. But yeah, come back next week. We'll be talking about more cartoons as we do. Should be a good old time. But until then, we'll catch you all next time.
Catch you on the flip side.
Oh yeah, flip it all the things.
Guessing that's where the cutoff is.